Hi everyone, in this video interview we are walking you through what to expect within the What is Sex video interview series that we're currently walking, and the questions, the points that we will be having a look at and walking through are, for example, why it is that we as human beings think of sex all the time. Why is it that the moment we meet another human being, the context of that meeting is within the experience of and as a sexual nature, that one's thoughts immediately wander to and towards profiling this human being that you're meeting in the context of relationship material. And if one have a look at one's own participation throughout one's daily life in interacting with other human beings, one will see, realize, and understand how our thoughts are directed towards physical appearance, towards physical behavior, towards the very mannerisms, eye movements, mouth movements, ear designs, clothing, and within that we literally can scan another human being, profile them, place them within a judgment room within ourselves, and accordingly establish a relationship with this human being. And this we do with particularly human beings that we are in close proximity with on a regular basis. And then you have your regular human beings that one simply pass by, that within a quick scan we again walk through appearance, looks, clothes, body image, physical design, behavior, mannerisms, and our total inclination within our mind consciousness system is standing within a sexual tendency. And whether one is simply meeting another human being within a acquaintance nature, one's mind consciousness system or one's mind will always take one immediately to, is this person relationship material or not? And what's quite interesting, it's not that one within oneself is deliberately, for example, looking for a relationship, or one is even within a relationship already, but one's mind will profile another human being within the context of relationship and dismiss that profiling that happens within one's mind consciousness system as one is interacting with this human being or human beings that one is meeting. But if one is self-honest, one will see for oneself, within oneself, that when you meet another human being, that is the first point that manifests within self. And it is, for some human beings, very visual, where they will, even within that very moment, take it as far as imagining themselves together with this human being, how this human being would be in bed, how would they be as a couple, and literally play it out within your mind. Other human beings more experience that first moment as, for example, a feeling or an experience that come up, and one then tend to move closer to this other human being in a flirtatious, playful way, in establishing how this person would be within a relationship context. So one has various methods of establishing relationship profile. Now, what we're walking in the What is Sex video interviews is explaining in detail how it is and why it is that such tendencies immediately come up within ourselves when meeting other human beings, whether you're in a long-term relationship, in a new relationship, or no relationship at all. This very point emerges immediately within the minds of each human being. And within that, we also explain what is it that happens within our subconscious and unconscious the moment we profile another human being within a relationship sexual context. And within that, we expand on why and how it is that when you meet another human being, there is immediately a feeling or an experience towards them within that one would experience when you're, for example, meeting a prospective partner. If you, for example, go back and have a look at all your relationships that you've had, there was always this excitement feeling towards this person that you would then pursue in terms of wanting to have a relationship with them. That very same experience comes up when meeting new human beings within your world and your reality that you have a comfortable relationship with. And it is that feeling or experience that develop then your relationship with a human being into a friendship and or a serious relationship. We go into what is that feeling or experience that comes up? Where does it come from? Why does it exist? What is it that exists within us as human beings that have us approach other human beings as, and within the context of relationships and sex, instead of an actual getting to know of another person as who they are? Why is it that we can't simply communicate and be with another human being naturally comfortable, communicating, getting to know each other without their thoughts coming up, pictures, ideas, perceptions, imaginations of relationship and sex? I mean, how many times, for example, you'd be sitting with other human beings and based simply on how they move, one's mind immediately going to sex, relationship, and interpreting or experiencing or believing that their behavior is indicating sexual attraction. And why it is that within that we're constantly and continuously referencing other human beings' behavior, words, smiles, mannerisms toward us within a sexual context, rather than a simply seeing it as who they are, a human being, an individual expressing themselves as they are. The little things within one's mind that come up when you're interacting with other human beings, these sporadic moments where you're, for example, simply walking in town and another person looks at you or smiles at you or moves at you a certain way, and immediately again that experience of relationship or sexual attraction emerges or comes up. Why is that? Why can't we simply walk within this world, smile at each other, do something nice, assist and support or help, without their coming up within us as thinking or believing that it is sexual in nature or inclining towards a want, need and desire of a relationship? And within that, we also expand the video interview series of what is sex to where did sex come from within the creation of the human within existence. What is sex really? We walk you through the total mind consciousness system design of and as what the human being consists of and exists as. And again, we'll give context with this video interview in expanding your understanding on what the mind consciousness system is, where we take it through and explaining how the sex has in fact become a system that has formed part of one's mind consciousness system, that is your conscious, subconscious, and unconscious mind, form part of the mind consciousness system to such an extent that it influenced our very experience toward ourselves and others and the world as a whole. In that very relationship between sex as a system and the mind consciousness system is what is determining, influencing, and affecting our very internal experience and external experience toward a sexual nature, toward a relationship context. And within that also then explaining how and why it is that one's very self-relationship is based on sex and relationship, where how we go about ourselves in our grooming, our dressing, our physical form, our behaviors, our mannerisms, how all of that has been sexualized in preparation for and experience of relationships and sex with other human beings. Within these video interviews, one will see, realize, and understand for oneself the extent to which we have in fact become beings that only live for sex, and within that expanding it to how the world system, the world that we consist of and exist as, that we have created as a humanity as a whole, has been designed within the context of sex and sexuality, where we're going to take you through how it is that the current religions, spiritualities, and movements that exist within the world has, within their very existence, within the human beings that participate in them, a sexual nature, where the very relationships that we have toward God, towards spirits, towards guides, towards religions, is in fact consistent, equal to and one with having a relationship with another human being, and within that having an actual sexual relationship, where the relationship within sex is not so much physical as it is within an energetic nature. So within that, we're going to show you how sex exists within this world and within human beings in all its various dimensions, manifestations, and parts, where you have, for example, your physical sex, where you have your religious, spiritual movements, sexuality, where you have your sexual connection and relationship towards even your job, businesses, corporations. Sex has become the very point, the very purpose, the very reason that exists within a human being to continue existing and living and walking within this world and this reality. It is sex that defines who you are as a human being and what you're doing in this world, in this reality, whether having a family, having a job, traveling the world, participating in your religions, spiritualities, movements. Everything is driven by sex, and we're going to show you exactly how and why through and within the What is Sex video interviews. What is it that makes and drives human beings to be who they are, to participate in what you are, to define yourself as and according to what you do, what you live? What is it within us that is giving us that experience of being alive? And for many listening to this video interview, in terms of me expanding on sex even existing within the context of the world system in your religions, spiritualities, your movements, your workforce, the jobs you do, even the very education we walk, our relationships, our interactions within this world system with media, magazines, conversations, how literally everything is infiltrated and permeated by and through sex. Again, sex in various different forms. Sex, understand, is not so much only a physical act as it is and has become an evolution of the experience of the human being within the nature of energy. What is sex? Sex is the physical act of experiencing orgasm. That is what each human being within the nature of physical sex search for, look for, want, need, and desire, is that orgasm, that experience of being alive, of living, of just complete physical bliss and ecstasy and release that feels like your total physical can just drink it up and be completely filled and fulfilled. And it's a physical experience that you yearn for, that the moment you have that, it's just wanting more and more and more. Now, that very experience exists within all contexts in this world, in this reality, where we're going to show you what is orgasm within the context of your religions, your spiritualities, your movements, your work, your relationships, how it is that whatever we're participating in, how it is that we've sexualized it within the context of getting that orgasmic experience, that life, that release, that bliss, that something that we are using as a reason to continue living and existing in this world, in this reality. And various human beings get it from various different places. And within that, we're going to walk you through the very design of the human being within those various different contexts of sex, sexuality, and sexual expression, and how we've in fact designed it within ourselves through, for example, pictures, energy, color, sound, where we're going to take you through from the beginning of the creation of human civilization, in why and how it is that all we're consisting of and existing as at the moment, if you look inside yourself, is pictures, images, colors, sounds, energies as experiences, and vibration. And within that, how sex within the mind consciousness system, within those components or parts, are what is constantly and continuously stimulating our want, need, and desire for sex. How it is that the human being has been designed, created, and manifested to desire, want, and need sex within all its contexts all the time. That all we think about within ourselves, towards others, and the world is sex. I mean, one can have a look at it in the world system as well. Wherever you look, it's about sex. Your media, magazines, conversations, thoughts, backchat. So within that, one will and can prepare oneself for quite an awakening to the extent to which sex has permeated, infiltrated, and manifested the very fabric of ourselves and existence as a whole. Within that, we're going to also take you through how it is that relationships form, why it is that one have the butterflies in the stomach, the excitement. What is that? Where does that come from? Also, why and how it is that one will only connect to certain human beings. Why is it that one have certain aversions towards some human beings and certain attractions toward others? What differentiates between those decisions and those relationships? And within that, the whole walking you through how a relationship starts within self. What happens? What's going on inside oneself when one's starting a relationship? Where is the energies coming from? Why is there specific thoughts, imaginations, fantasies playing out? What is their purpose? What is their role? What do they do to self and with the other human being? Then what happens with sex within relationships? Why is it, for example, that when walking a relationship, sometimes neither gets an orgasm, sometimes only one gets an orgasm, and very rarely both gets an orgasm at the same time? What is orgasm? Where does orgasm come from? How is orgasm experienced within the human physical body? Where does that experience move to, go to, and through within one's human physical body? How does one's cells react? How does one's muscle tissues, one's total physical form react to orgasm? What happens to the physical, to self, in the moment of orgasm? And then within that, and here is an interesting teaser for those listening to this video interview, how that energy of orgasm has played a role in and as the very existence of heaven. What is the relationship between the orgasm, the energy the orgasm produces within relationships, to and towards the heavens of existence? Why is it that sex and relationships in this world are being programmed within human beings from a very young age? Through parents, through family, through the world system, through cultures, through media, magazines, education. What is being pushed, enforced, and programmed into human beings over and over and over again on a daily basis is sex, sexuality, and relationships. Why is that? And within that, what has been happening behind the scenes within this world and this existence that hasn't been able to be seen by human beings? Because what is most certainly known is that there are, and there is, more to existence than just human beings in this world and this reality. So within the What is Sex video interviews, we're going to take you behind the scenes of what's happening within this existence that human beings have not been aware of, why it is that human beings have not been aware of, what is really happening in this world. Answering that very question of why is sex so important in this world, in this existence? How is it that it has become so important? Within that, also expanding on the very manifestation, the origination and the creation of masturbation, of pornography. How did pornography come about? Why did pornography come about? Interesting point here is that what we've walked already within the What is Sex video interviews is how masturbation came about in terms of the very beginnings of the creation of imagination, fantasy. How was that developed throughout human civilization? Why did masturbation come about? What made it come about? What was the outflow consequences of masturbation within the context of relationships and the very act of physical one-on-one sex? Why did sexuality move from physical one-on-one sex to more an internalized form of sex as masturbation? From there, from the creation of masturbation in imagination and fantasy, how pornography came into this world and this reality, and how the world system utilized, or should I say abused, that opportunity of masturbation, fantasizing, and imagination to create an industry of sex and sexuality that promulgate the internal forms of sex as your masturbation through imagination and fantasy. And what is it that we mean when we say that the world system utilized the opportunity of masturbation and internal fantasizing and imagining about sex and created a total industry of porn around and of it? What is the nature of masturbation? Why is it that we masturbate? What is that experience within ourselves that drive us to that want, need, and desire to masturbate, that it is so consuming that one can't stop? Why is it that we can't stop? What is it that is stopping us from stopping? Within that, we'll also walk you through the manifested consequence of masturbation within the context of relationships, cheating. Why does cheating manifest or exist? Why is it that many human beings listening to this video interview and can relate to this, that has been within and walked through a process of cheating on a partner, that it is a point where one is driven to cheat, and where that driving has been experienced as a total possessive force, where one almost can't stop oneself, and where after the whole experience of cheating, one go into questioning, why did I do that? How did I do that? How could I have done that? And each human being that has faced the point of cheating, in being self-honest, will realize that they had asked themselves that question, either consciously or even subconsciously, in terms of how one will approach it within one's culture of morality. However, we're going to walk you through in detail why it is that cheating exists. Cheating exists within the context of sexuality, especially in how the very sex system of the mind consciousness system that we are direct, move, influence, and control our very relationships in this world, in this reality, to even take us to the point of cheating. Within that, we're also going to walk you through why does gays, lesbians, transsexuals, metrosexuals, all the forms and playouts, manifestations of sexuality that is expressed through human beings exist. How did it come about? Why did it come about? What is the very nature, manifestation, starting point, and existence of lesbians, gays, transsexuals, metrosexuals, in how sex has played a role within the very manifestation of that within this world and this reality, as an actual play out of consequence within human civilization, from the very starting point of what sex has become in this existence. Then within that, we're also going to take you through into children, in consequences of sex, sexuality, and relationships within the birth of children, what consequences has manifested in children within this world, in this reality, as themselves, their life experience, because of parents' sexualities, and how sex has even played a role in influencing children's lives in this world, in this reality. So, as you can see, in terms of the What is Sex interviews, it is a very expansive process that we're going to take you through in explaining what sex really is in this existence, taking you literally behind the scenes and within the layers of existence, and walking you throughout time, from the beginning of the very creation of the human as the mind, in how sex and why sex has formed a part of human existence, and to see, realize, and understand that sex is more than just reproduction and the survival of the human race, that it has become the very life force that drive the human being as an individual, humanity as a whole, and the very functioning of this world system. And within that, how the very world system has been aligned within the context of sex, sexuality, and relationships. And within that, how sex and relationships has become the primary preoccupation of human beings to not in fact evolve as individuals, but remain slaves to something more than one could ever have conceived or believed. And we're going to show you how human beings have in fact become slaves to a system, both within and without, and existentially, through sex as relationships. And within that, how to assist and support oneself to stop this tendency of walking within and as a sexualization of self, of other human beings, of the world, to realize, see, and understand that there's more to self, other human beings, and this existence than sex and relationships. Thank you very much.